All right, before we get started, because I've been covering Model Y performance stuff here on the channel, and I know you guys are probably curious, if you don't follow me on X or Instagram, yes, we did put in an order for the Model Y performance. I say we because this is actually the lady's account. We wanted a second referral code. Also, she qualifies for the tax credit. You'll see here under the details, you'll be able to see the spec and the order date. So this does qualify for the tax credit. Ultra red paint, black and white interior. Apparently this also does come with free lifetime premium connectivity and the tow hitch, which was pretty cool. But yeah, you can't do any of your delivery tasks until November. But yeah, I just wanted to let you all know. 10 things that my Model 3 Performance does better and that I like more compared to my 2026 refreshed Model S Plaid. I actually mentioned in my very long Model S Plaid review a few weeks ago that I like the S in almost every way compared to the 3. Almost. Now, these are in no particular order, just honestly the order at which I noticed them, been kind of just jotting things down here and there over the course of the past few months that I've owned the S. But the last one, which relates to performance, could be getting an update soon, which would no longer make it a Pro, but could actually make the 3 even faster, but I'll explain that when I get there. So first up, the buttons. Buttons on the steering wheel or yoke and the doors. They're capacitive. Back when Tesla released the Palladium S and X, this was a pretty disliked thing by just about everybody. So when Tesla released the new 3, they definitely took feedback from S and X owners and changed this, right? Well, sorta. They're still capacitive, so timing out is still an issue. Though they did put out an update that alerts you when they're about to time out, and since then, mine haven't. But they have made them feel more real, if you will. If you're a button engineer and you want to explain this down in the comment section, feel free to. But the best way I can describe it is it's like the MacBook trackpad. Like when you press down, it feels super real. It even moves a little bit, but it's still capacitive. So you would think that with the new 2026 refresh on the S, that they would have at least given it the better feeling buttons. Nope, they're exactly the same as they were back in 2021. Now, I've briefly mentioned this in a few videos since getting the S, just, you know, the overall feel of the buttons and everything and how I'm not the biggest fan, but there's actually been a development since then. Can you take a guess what the development is? Yeah, my turn signals just don't work anymore. Like, they straight up do not work. I have no idea what has happened. I've done probably 50 resets since then. Buttons still don't work. Actually, I'm back to driving the 3 now just because, I mean, yeah, I can still use, I do find it ironic. It was right after I purchased the Lux package that now my turn signal stopped working. But I've actually been driving the 3 now just because, like, I hate trying to change lanes without a turn signal because there's like the lane departure assist and it kind of tries to pull you back in. So you got to rip. It's just super annoying. Thankfully, though, they were able to get me a mobile service and they're actually coming out tomorrow. So I've gone like 5 days now without being able to use turn signals. But fingers crossed it just gets fixed. Yeah, I really hate the buttons in the S. Next up is the trim, and I'm here in the garage just so I can show you side by side. Now, I've actually already said that I do like the gloss piano black trim on the S here, specifically for this car because it has the stealth matte PPF. I think it contrasts really well. However, just in case you're curious, with all piano gloss back plastics, yeah, it shows fingerprints like crazy. Any bit of dust, dirt, literally anything. Like, you can wash it, and by the time you get home, the trim's gonna look dirty again. You can see here, because the door handles are also that gloss black. Yeah, fingerprint city. You see over here on the 3, right, just nothing. But what I have found to be even more, I guess, concerning is actually the way that specifically the window trim here is put on. And this is on both sides of what I'm about to show you, right? You can see that. It's like it wants to stick. It's like there's glue or tape or something up under there that's like not holding it. So it has all this movement to it. Where you come over here to the 3, nothing, right? Oh, look, you can actually, you can see some fingerprints here. But you see, they kind of just like wipe right off. Like, you don't even really notice them. But yeah, right through here, super, super solid. And here's the other side, just in case you don't believe me. But yeah, so fingerprint magnet, and it just isn't put on as well. Also, another little thing that you all probably already know if you've been watching the videos, but just in case you don't, yeah, the round steering wheel in the S, I have the yoke, but the round steering wheel is like quite a bit bigger than the 3, and by extension, the Y steering wheel. This If I could transplant this exact wheel into my S, I would have already done so. Like if the S and X wheel was this exact size, I would have already done it. Now I know that they make it bigger for the screen so it doesn't block off stuff. And even then it still does cut off a little bit of the top. So doing this, it'd probably cut off a lot, but I'd be willing to try it just to get this wheel in there because I love the 3's wheel. The 3's wheel is like one of my favorite wheels in any car. Like one of my favorite wheels. I absolutely love how this thing feels. Now hopping in the car, as that's the only time that you'll see this next one when you're getting in and out of the car, and that's the door seal or nameplate. It just looks out of place, and the way that the 3 and Y do it is just so much nicer. I don't know, it just looks like a piece of plastic plopped right down in the carpet. This is purely aesthetic, doesn't affect the drive at all, but I think it just looks bad. Tacky even. Just move it to the body of the car like the rest of the lineup. I think it would look so much better. But now let's talk about the parking situation. The S is a bigger car, and in fact one of the big reasons you hear people talk about why they got a 3 over an S is because the 3 is easier to park. It's not that it's harder to park. The rear view camera sucks. It's the new ultra wide camera. Remember a few months back they pushed out an update to a bunch of hardware for Ys and people hated it. So I think they put out an update to where you could change it. Maybe not. You can correct me on that. If you own a hardware 4Y, can you like revert back to the original more narrow field of view? But yeah, the S with the hardware 4 now, the new one, at least, I don't know if the old one's got this or not, hopefully not because I hate it, is the like ultra wide field of view. And it just makes parking the car harder. I cannot, for the life of me, park this car straight on my first go like I can in the 3. The car looks straight from the rear view camera and even the sides, but then I get out and it's always like this, right? This is the front of the car and it's always slightly slanted. Drives me crazy. I hate the rear view camera on the S. Tesla, just give me the option to go back to the more narrow field of view. Ultra wide on the front is perfect because, well, you probably want to see like 180 degrees from left to right. But on the rear, I don't need to see that. I just need to be able to see the car. Like I don't need to see all this crap on the left and right. I have side repeater cameras for that. And while we're on the topic of backing up and looking out the rear through the camera, just looking out of your rear view mirror. Now it's not Model Y where the rear view window is like super, super tiny, but because the 3 has, you know, the huge piece of glass on the rear, that means that when you're looking out your like rear view mirror, pretty much like the entire mirror is just your back window, right? Like you can see everything. Whereas with the S, it's a much smaller little cutout. I find myself adjusting my mirror on the S more. Maybe I'm slouching a little bit more that day. I'll adjust it more downward. It's a small thing, but it's something I noticed pretty much immediately when I got the S. Next up is full self-driving. It's just not as good as the 3. It's not a secret that Tesla prioritizes the 3 and Y when it comes to FSD over the S and X. Now, it's not hardware 3 V12 or, you know, Cybertruck bad, but yeah, it's just not as smooth as hardware 4 V13 on my Model 3. It's just less confident. The S is a little bit more hesitant. With that being said, however, the 3 has never like pulled into a parking space like while on FSD, like what you saw in last week's video with the S. I've been saying for quite some time now that if you want a just like FSD mobile, right? Like you're buying a Tesla for FSD. Just buy a 3 or a Y. Those are just so much better at it. They typically get the updates first. The updates are typically a little bit more smoother because, well, they're optimizing for their moneymakers, right? For their mass produced, for the ones that everyone's buying. Now, this next one may be a pro or a con, but for me, it's a con. The seating position in the S, even the Plaid with the bucket seats, just is not as low as the 3. When you're in the 3, you feel like you're on the floor. The car feels like an extension of you. Whereas in the S, and you know, yes, it's also a bigger car, which does add to this as well, but you sit up a little bit higher. You feel a little bit more disconnect. Now, I've driven the S enough that I'm used to it by now. In fact, I actually like subconsciously slouch a little bit to get more of that like down low feeling. But when I go back to the 3, between that and the better buttons, I'm like, man, I love this car. Like I said, this could be a pro for you if you actually like to sit up a little bit higher off the floor, or if like getting in and out of the 3 is a little bit more difficult for you, the S may be the sweet spot, as it's not as like high up as an X or a Y, but it definitely is higher than the 3, and you can also like put the air suspension on a high to help out with that. Now, this next one is something that I thought I was kind of just nitpicking at, and it was something that only I really noticed, but then I had someone comment like the exact same thing, so I'm gonna include it, and that's gonna be the armrest on the doors. If you look at the armrest on the S, and then you look at the armrest on the 3, you probably think, wow, it kind of looks like your arm would just slip right off there. And yeah,
it does. Now, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, you can still put your arm on there and it sits, but if you're not a little bit more precise with where you sit your arm at, yeah, it'll just slide right off. Whereas on the 3, it's flat. You can put your arm on there anywhere. It's fine. For me in the S, what I do now, I'll actually slide my hand up into the door handle, secure my arm like that, if you will. Now, for the charge port. I was honestly sad to see Tesla get rid of the old Model S and Model X charge port door, the tiny little flap that would kind of pop open like this, and you had the RGB ring around the charge port itself. I actually saw a lot of older Model S owners that are now getting newer Model S's complain about this, especially in the dark, because it was so easy to know exactly where you needed to plug in at. But now it's kind of just like every other Tesla's charge port door, except it's not. The 3's charge port door has one motor. It just raises and lowers, whereas the S actually has two, one that raises the door and a second that then tilts the door upwards, which means it takes like twice as long for the door to fully open. I'll press it and sometimes it just literally does nothing. In fact, my 3's charge port door across the garage will open and I'll still be standing there waiting for my S's to open and it just will not open. Though I will admit that I have had some like really weird cellular communication issues, Wi-Fi just not connecting, me driving for like 10 plus minutes and no, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi and it's trying to connect. No, I'm like out in a parking lot already away from home, get in my car, go to drive away and my car just will not connect to cellular. So that could be an issue. I do have that scheduled for service. Hopefully they'll find something and fix it. Besides that, yeah, the actual charge port door, when it does actually open, it takes like twice as long. You would think that the smaller door would have been more cost effective to just keep on there. I'm still a little upset that they got rid of it. And then finally, launch control, or the lack thereof needing a launch control. Now, if you watch the Plaid review, then you'll know that I actually lined my 3 and the S up and launched them at the same time, except I left the Plaid out of drag strip mode, so thus no cheetah mode. It's just, trying to replicate the whole pull up to a light, you don't have time to do anything, just go. And yeah, despite the S having nearly double the horsepower, the two launched almost identically 260. Except the difference is that the S was screaming the whole time for traction, whereas the 3 just hooked and went. Despite Tesla's world-class leading traction control and ability to put power down, it just has so much power that it still spins unless you were in your cheetah stance and ready to go. There's this almost ignorance is bliss feeling knowing that in the 3, I don't got to do anything. I just pull up, stomp on the accelerator, and off I go. I get a perfect launch almost every single time. Now, I mentioned that this could be changing, and that's because Model Y Performances, the new ones, have been in Europe showrooms for a while now, and people have went in and seen that, yes, they do have a launch control in these vehicles now. And from what we've seen, it pretty much acts like a cheetah mode in a sense that foot on brake, foot on accelerator, release brake, hold accelerator down, and off you go. Of course, it's not going to lower the front end, but you get the gist. However, what I'm hoping for even more than just having the launch control for the sake of having launch control is for it to precondition the battery to actual optimal temperatures. If you don't know insane mode in the Model 3 Performance and the Model Y Performance, it says it's supposed to keep your battery at an optimal temperature, but through testing, we find out that it's actually keeping it at about 110, where true optimal performance is about 130. So people that are super nerdy and really want the best times will, navigate to a nearby supercharger or will use some type of third-party apps. I think are they called sexy buttons? The buttons you can use. I think you can use that to also do it. So if that does end up making its way to the 3, it would take away from that, oh, I don't got to think about it. I just step on it and it goes. But I do think that would be a trade-off most people would be okay with. If you're a Model 3 Performance owner, let me know if you would want a launch control to come to your car. I assume they could just push it via a software update. And while we're on the topic of the S just having an insane amount of power, that's something else I kind of like about the 3 is the fact that I don't really have to think about where I want to get a little bit crazy with it, right? Middle of a turn, sure, put your foot down. You tell him may get a little bit loose, but it's not dangerous. You can launch it all day from any stoplight. You don't got to make sure that the intersection is big enough or look up ahead, make sure you have enough room to slow down. Where with the Plaid, I floor my 3 a whole lot more than I floor my Plaid, at least from a stop. You get to 130, 150 so quick that you need to preemptively make sure that you have enough room to stop. You have enough room to slow down. Of course, I don't have the carbon ceramics, so maybe that would make a difference, but I can definitely be a little bit more spirited in the 3 and not really worry about it. Whereas In the S, yeah, I kind of got to be a little bit more conservative about where I put my foot down at. I will have a full comparison video on the S versus the 3 soon. And then, of course, when the Model Y Performance gets here in December, I'll have videos comparing all 3. I literally plan to race those cars like the first day I get the Y, just to see if the 60 to 130 that we've seen on the European version of the Performance is actually like as bad. A 12-second 60 to 130 is like kind of crap. If you're new around here and you want to see more Tesla-related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.